tactic.
Prescription products require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply. Read all warnings before using GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
If you've struggled for years to lose weight and have given up hope, did you know you can now access GLP-1 prescription medications at TryLifeMD.com? We're now offering eligible patients online access to GLP-1s, the breakthrough prescription medication that can help you lose body fat and weight. Listen to what people are saying.
It's fun to put on jeans that you couldn't get into 6 months ago.
Every morning, I look forward to getting on the scale.
For anybody who's struggling with their weight, it's a godsend.
And here's the best part. Your insurance may cover 100% of the cost of your medication. So go to TryLifeMD.com to have your eligibility checked right now. Get started today at TryLifeMD.com. That's TryLifeMD.com.
BSM presents The Tim Weisberg Show, streaming live on WBSM.com and the WBSM app. Call 508-996-0500. Send us app chat messages and open line voicemails using the WBSM app. Now, The Tim Weisberg Show.
Welcome back in. Hour number 2 of the program here on Wednesday morning, the middle of the month. It's May 15th. It's pretty nice outside right now if you're heading out the door. But it's going to change a little bit as the day goes on. You just heard Ariel giving you the weather there, but it's 57 right now with the sun out and partly cloudy skies. Taking a look at the hourly forecast, though, later on this afternoon, we're looking like around 4. And then as the day goes on, 6 p.m., 4 p.m., you got a 30% chance of rain. 6 p.m., you got a 40% chance, 50% at 7. And then by the time you get to this evening, it's an 80% chance of rain. So you might be able to sneak in getting your workday done without any rain coming down on you. But then we're going to have rain for a couple of days. Get it out of the way now, right? Have the rain now so that we don't have to have it all summer long. And certainly we don't want to end up in another drought situation. Is it just my imagination? And I'd have to go back and look, but we seem to have a lot of rainy 4th of July weekends. Hopefully we don't have a rainy Memorial Day weekend because some lucky person out there is going to win 3-day passes to Boston Calling, which you can enter at WBSM.com. And the WBSM app brought to you by Stevie's Wine and Spirits and the all-new Tropical Smoothie Cafe, both in Fairhaven. But again, rain in the spring is okay. It's expected. It's part of the circle of life. The school bus discussion from yesterday sparked some interesting comments online, some interesting app chat messages. People who were kind of on the fence about it because they're in favor of the idea of making things safer for school buses, but that they didn't want to have cameras everywhere. And I think, this law that the lawmakers are looking at, from my understanding, is just about cameras on those school bus stop signs. And maybe they put cameras on some other parts of the buses that would give them footage they could use as well. Because not every incident that happens is somebody blowing through that stop sign. But I also don't want to get a ticket. I don't want somebody to get a ticket because they weren't 100 yards away from the bus when they had to come to a complete stop. Sometimes you're just a little bit too close. It doesn't mean that you were trying to not follow the law. And it certainly doesn't mean that you're a danger to the students that are on the bus. But we've had stories the last couple of days about bus crashes, school buses that were involved in crashes, including one in New Bedford a few days ago. So there is a need to be extra vigilant when school buses are on the road and when you're driving near them. And unfortunately, the news repeatedly shows us that is the case. So we can still talk more about that. You can still send those app chat messages and open line voicemails. But we were also talking this morning about a couple of other stories that affect us here locally. One is that, and I don't know how this happened, but convicted murderer in the Fall River cult crimes, Robin Murphy, is being paroled again. Fall River Herald News has the story. Joe Good does a fantastic job over there, and I guess she'll be released in the next couple of weeks. She's 61 years old now, but she was 17 when these murders occurred, working as a pimp, competing against Carl Drew in terms of the prostitution business in the city of in the city of Fall River, including battling it out in competing territories right next to each other and fighting for the same territory. But yet, she admitted to being involved in the murder of Karen Marsden. Carl Drew denied being involved. We know that Robin Murphy's the one who actually committed the murder. But she claims she was doing it under the direction of Carl Drew as part of this cult story that was perpetrated by the police and District Attorney Ron Pina. So there'll be forthcoming details about her release. But she is being released on parole. And the board indicated that, this is from Joe Good's reporting, the board indicated that they based their decision on several factors addressing her trauma history, victim empathy, and addiction issues, and earning her bachelor's degree from Boston University. Well, okay. Oh, you got a college degree? Okay, well then I guess it's okay that you murdered somebody. I guess it's okay that you cut someone's head off. Because you got a degree from Boston University. Like, what's the cutoff of that? Had she not gone to Boston University, had she if she gone to like LaSalle, would that have been like, no, it's not quite there enough. Northeastern? Would Northeastern been enough to forgive the fact that she cut somebody's head off? And listen, I'm all for criminal rehabilitation. I am. And I believe that somebody that murders somebody at 17 years old can be a fundamentally good person who deserves a chance at freedom at some point in their life, depending on the circumstances. I firmly believe that that is possible. I don't believe that's possible with Robin Murphy, with a woman who over the past 40 years has continuously changed her story and lied and manipulated people. And now we're assuming that the story she's telling currently is the right one? That the story she told to a documentary film crew to garner sympathy, to garner public support for her release, and then carried that same approach into the latest parole hearing back in March? That we're supposed to just believe that this time she's telling the truth? I don't understand. I don't understand why they feel like she can be trusted. It's okay if you want to say, well, we're going to parole her because we feel like she's done a significant amount of time. But it's another thing to say that you think she's rehabilitated herself. 508-996-0500. Good morning. You're on WBSM.
What a wonderful story this morning. No justice, Mr. Weisberg. No justice.
Well, there was justice. They had her locked away. Why not just leave her there?
Okay, this is the way I feel about it. Yeah, a lot of people in jail, they do rehabilitate, but you can go on to do good things while you're still in jail. You took life, and when they give you life, why did they give it back to you? If they're going to give you life in jail, and you're the model prisoner now, so they're going to let you out. No, that person they killed is never coming back. They don't deserve to walk the streets again or to even feel the sun on their face. That's how I feel. So you can rehabilitate, stay in jail, and you can still do a lot of good things in jail. You were being punished for what you did.
Not to mention, Mary, she was paroled before and couldn't keep herself out of trouble.
Yeah, so I don't understand what kind of a parole board do we have in these places? I don't understand that.
I don't know. I would have thought this was a slam dunk that she wasn't going to be released, that she was going to stay in prison.
So, and I guess
like every other time.
People like us on the outside, we can't do anything about it, huh? Even if you go protest, scream, yell, they're not going to. I mean, are you following at all the Cameron Reed case at all?
A little bit. I've been reading the news stories. I try to stick to the facts of the case, or at least what's being presented in court.
I mean, it's ridiculous. They need to stop this whole trial on her right now and let her walk out that door. We all can see what was going on. So corrupt. Boston Police Department. It doesn't surprise me. Does it surprise you?
Well, I also would say too, isn't it only still the early stages of the prosecutions? Aren't they only about halfway through what they're going to be presenting? So there could be more stuff coming.
That's true, and only worse. It could only get worse, and how they let it go on for so long, and how his family is lying for him. And did you see all the people outside? If you were watching it at all, I mean, they have people outside protesting and yelling, screaming, "Free Karen Reed, free!" I think if they go through this whole thing and the verdict comes back guilty, there's going to be something happening outside that courthouse, because the people are not going to be silent.
There's certainly a lot of people on both sides of it who are being very involved in it. That's why I say, like, I've only been paying attention to what happens in the trial, because there's just a lot of noise on both sides. Either way, I see a lot of stuff on social media and a lot of people posting about it, and I'm like, I'll
tell you an interesting fact about it after it's all over, because I can't tell you right now. It has to be over in order for me to tell you. And I will. And it has a lot to do with that trial.
Okay.
It's a personal thing. I'll put it that way. That's why I can't put it out here.
Understandable.
So, but I will tell you, and it'll be only you. I'll message you, because I know you're not going to say anything to anybody. I don't want, But anyway, like I said, if they find her guilty, there's going to be a lot of commotion going on outside that building, and boy, oh boy, that's going to make the news. But people are fed up with everything that's going on, and not just in the court, in everything, everything. In
this Robin Murphy case, you have Representative Alan Sylvia, who was the detective who investigated these crimes. He actually spoke out against having her released. Other people spoke out against having her released. I mean, the parole board had all the evidence that they needed that she's a liar and is not going to be is not to be trusted. Yet they still decided that she was worthy of release. I don't understand.
That's incredible. I don't understand that at all. And they have a team of people. There's a woman, a very famous name, and now I forgot it, but I was following them a long time. It's a woman attorneys, and she has younger people that she coaches, and they go after cases where they think people are innocent, and they go and they try to prove things, and they do, and they actually get people out of jail. I know you know what I'm talking about. I just don't remember the name of who they are.
Yeah, well, hopefully now this means that they'll give Carl Drew another chance, because she said he didn't do it. And so if she said he didn't do it, and you're going to believe her and trust her enough, and the other thing she's saying to grant her parole, then you should be believing her in that case too.
Absolutely true. And look at that other one that wants another trial. Scott Peterson? Mm-hmm. Is that his name? Yeah, he's been fighting for another trial. They say he's going to get one. Now, do you think there's a possibility that guy was innocent, didn't kill his pregnant wife and throw her into the bay?
I don't know. I haven't heard any of the new stuff that's led to the new trial. So
Oh, wow. That's going to be something.
Here's how I follow true crime, Mary. After the documentaries have already been made. So I can sit down and watch the documentary and not get wrapped up in the day-to-day stuff, because I would just drive myself crazy if I was following it day-to-day. I would just become obsessed.
Yeah. And you know how it really gets under your skin? Because I had things to do. I had appointments and all, and I was sick the whole time that I wasn't home watching it. I had to miss it and watch it later in the day. I got all upset at myself. Oh, I have to go here. I have to do that. It's sickening. It wraps you up, boy. It just takes your life away. I'm in court TV all the time.
Well, I've been watching. I was say, do you have you don't have Max, do you? The streaming service Max?
I could get into it, yeah. Because
the story of the Jinx, Robert Durst, the guy who allegedly killed his wife and his best friend and another guy, and got away with it and then confessed to it. Like, it's a crazy story. They have a new season of that where they're following the trial after he made the first TV series about it.
You know, Mr. Weisberg, it sounds absolutely just right for me and the things I watch. But if I add that to my list, I may not live long enough to watch everything I want to see.
Well, it's terrible. It's only 6 episodes per season, so.
Yeah, there's one thing I know for sure, and that's Lizzie Borden did it. There was nobody else. She was there. She did it, and she got away with it. So good for her, huh?
I'm waiting for that documentary on Netflix. When's that one coming?
Again? They're not going to put it to rest ever?
I don't know that there is one. I'm just teasing.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. Have a good day.
You too. Take care.
Yep. Bye-bye.
508-996-0500. Yeah, that's kind of my approach on these criminal cases, these true crime stories. I will watch the documentaries later because I don't want to get wrapped up in the day-to-day and become obsessive about it. And if it's one thing that I don't like, it's the online detectives, the people who think that they know better than the people who are investigating the case based on stuff that they've found online. If you remember the Cecil Hotel story, the woman was killed, and online detectives thought for sure it was this death metal musician from, I think, Brazil or Venezuela or something. And so they made the guy's life a living hell. And they blamed him for it and ruined his life. And it turns out he wasn't even there at the time. But somebody had made a mistake in trying to line him up at that time period, and then everybody just jumped on it. And then the whole Don't F with Cats series that was on Netflix. I mean, there's crazy stuff that happens from these web sleuths who just don't understand that they don't have all the information because they don't release all the information for a reason. So it's hard to get wrapped up in the day-to-day, and that's why I like the documentaries after the fact, because the trials are over and they can, explain things with that hindsight being 20/20 and have that 30,000-foot view, and I can digest it a lot easier. 508-996-0500. I'm going to take a break. We'll be back in a few moments. And welcome back in. 508-996-0500. And we're going to be going into the newsroom in just a moment, but we can take some more calls after that. The sun is out. It is shining. It will be out for a few hours. And it's making me think of Isaacson Solar, because a lot of folks have been saying, I hear you, Tim, talking about Isaacson, and I don't feel comfortable meeting with them until I know a little bit more about solar. Can you point me in the direction of somewhere where I can read up on it and be prepared with the right questions to ask them when I do have them come out to my home? And I will tell you, don't worry about it. There's no need to do your homework before you call Isaacson, because Isaacson's going to walk you through every step of it. They're going to be simple. They're going to be honest. They're going to be direct. They're not going to give you any fluff. They're not going to give you any gimmicks. They're not going to give you any, special contests to win a free something or any of that. They're just going to give you the truth about going solar, including if it's not a good fit for you or your home. I see a lot of homes that have found a way to make solar work for them. Maybe they don't have the best sunlight hitting their home. Well, maybe this little area in your yard could be the place where you could put some panels. Or maybe you can put a few panels over here and a couple over here. And so Isaacson will work through all of that with you. And if it turns out that there's nowhere on your property that's a good fit, they'll just say, hey, sorry, we don't think that's a good idea for you. And you can both be on your way. But that's the kind of simple, honest, direct answers you will get from Isaacson Solar. They are Fall River based. They're local. They're not going anywhere. If you call them out and you sit down and you talk to them, they will work with you and you can trust them. So check them out, isaacsonsolar.com, and get started today about finding out if solar is right for you. All right, now time to go into the news and get all the headlines of the day from Ariel Dorsey.
Day 3 in the corruption trial of Senator Bob Mendez. Scientists experiment, space murders, and a visual art installation in New York shuts down.
From the WBSM Newsroom, this is WBSM News.
Jury selection enters its third day in the corruption trial of Senator Bob Mendez. Yesterday, potential jurors learned that some of the people who might be called to testify against the New Jersey Democrat include Republican Senator Lindsey Graham and Democratic Senator Cory Booker. Senator Mendez is accused of taking bribes, including cash and gold bars, in exchange for helping 3 New Jersey businessmen. A former TikTok star is accused of double murder in San Diego, and now the jury is hearing what sounds like a confession. Lucinda Kay reports.
And now the jury hears a recording of that call as Ali Abulaban tells his mom he shot and killed his wife Anna and her friend Rayburn Barone in 2021. Prosecutors are sharing surveillance video from the apartment complex and a door cam from a neighbor. They recorded various events throughout that day, including Abulaban's call to his mother in the hallway. On TikTok, Abulaban went by the username Gin Kid, and in testimony, Anna's friends say his character online was a tough mobster guy like Scarface. They say he behaved the same way in real life, aggressive and abusive. I'm Lucinda Kay.
A visual art installation that allows New Yorkers to view Dublin in real time is already shutting down due to inappropriate behavior. The Dublin portal, which features a circular screen, is linked to an identical portal in the Irish capital, giving New Yorkers and Dubliners a chance to interact with one another via live stream. It just debuted last Wednesday, but now it's temporary closing because people have been behaving badly, like flashing one another and displaying foul language. 18 states are trying to block a federal agency from expanding legal protections for transgender workers. The Republican-led states filed a lawsuit Monday that would block new protections by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, saying the agency overstepped when it issued the legal guidance. The new guidance says employers who call workers by the wrong pronouns could face claims of workplace harassment. And a team of forensic scientists is preparing for the possibility of a murder in outer space. They conducted an experiment to see how blood splatters in zero gravity. The scientists used a hydraulic syringe to shoot fake blood droplets at paper pieces while floating inside the aircraft.
WBSM Sports.
The Bruins held the win over the Panthers in last night's game 2-1. They will host Florida for Game 6 Friday night. The Red Sox beat the Rays 5-4. Their 4-game series continues tonight. And the Celtics are leading the semifinal series with the Cavaliers as they head into Game 5. That game at 7.
Now your ABC6 South Coast forecast, brought to you by C Street.
Happy Wednesday. This morning, we will see a slight chance of showers as we head into the afternoon. The showers will continue with isolated thunderstorms, highs in the lower 70s. Later tonight, the weather will continue to bring in isolated thunderstorms, then a chance of showers after midnight, lows in the mid-50s. I'm Ariel Dorsey for WBSM News. Stay up to date with New Bedford's news talk station, WBSM, and get all of our content and breaking news alerts with the WBSM app.
Applebaum said you gotta put me on. Bonita Applebaum, gotta put me on. Bonita Applebaum said you gotta put me on. Bonita Applebaum, you gotta put me on. Bonita, Bonita, Bonita. Hey Bonita, glad to meet you. For the kind of stunning you miss, I must beseech you. Hey, being with you is a top priority. Ain't no need to question the authority.
And And welcome back in. 508-996-0500. App chat and open line voicemails on the WBSM app. A couple of things I want to point out to you on the app and on the website, WBSM.com. A couple of stories that I put out yesterday. Of course, we put up a little article remembering Storm and Norm Fredette, who passed away last week. And we have the information there for you, not only about him, but also about his services, if you want to take part in those. A lot of people knew Norm even outside of being a regular WBSM caller and part of Phil's Kitchen Cabinet. People just know him from being around and just being a great guy. So if you want to find out more about that, that's up there for you. And then also, I wrote a little piece up yesterday about New Bedford's own Samantha Johnson, known in the WWE as Samantha Irvin, because everybody has to change their name in the WWE. But she was a very fast rising star in WWE when she was hired as the NXT ring announcer. She didn't stay there very long before they moved her up to SmackDown, and then they put her on Monday Night Raw. And now she's their main ring announcer. And actually, as of last week, she's of the two shows, Raw and SmackDown, she is the most veteran of the two, because I believe her name's Alicia Taylor. She's the woman who was the NXT ring announcer recently. They moved her up to SmackDown. And as far as I know, this is the first time in WWE history that they had two female lead ring announcers. But they really have put a spotlight on Samantha. They give her screen time on television. She's been involved in storylines. She's prominent on their social media. The audiences love her. The audiences bring signs about her, and I haven't seen this happen since Lillian Garcia came on the scene in 1999. And people didn't really like Lillian Garcia at first. I think there's a lot of revisionist history because of how legendary she became, but at first there was a lot of resistance to Lillian Garcia. But because I was writing my Inside Wrestling column back then, and I remember writing about it, but she became a beloved figure, eventually retired for the second time from WWE to take care of her sick father who ended up passing away from cancer. But then she focused on her music career, and now I think she does some Ultimate Fighting announcing or something. But she still comes back now and then. And there was a really nice moment Monday night where Samantha Irvin, or as we know her in New Bedford, Samantha Johnson, invited Lillian to come into the ring and be a guest ring announcer for one of the matches, because that was her mentor, that was her idol, rather, growing up. That she grew up a huge WWE fan. And anybody that followed Samantha knows how much she was into WWE. She was always posting about it and tweeting about it, and it was a huge part of her life. And apparently she told this story on a show she was on online last year where she talked about how, I wanted to be involved, but I didn't know how I would be involved because she wasn't a wrestler. And then when she saw Lillian Garcia, she said, well, here's somebody who sings and was able to make it in WWE as a ring announcer. I could do that. I could be Lillian Garcia. And now she has reached that position. And so the two of them got to be in the ring together, and Lillian told her directly what a great job she's doing and how proud she is of her. And the two have formed a nice relationship. So it was really nice to see. So I wrote a little story about that. You can watch the clips of them together and see some photos and all of that if you check out the story at WBSM.com and on the WBSM app. But it's amazing to me how quickly she's been embraced by the fans. If you are a WWE fan, and I know some of you don't care and you get bored when we talk about it here, but it's on the verge of it's already reaching heights it's never reached before, but it's on the verge of an even bigger cultural explosion, and she's going to be at the center of it. Someone from New Bedford, major part of it. But there's this whole mindset shift of what's been going on in this post Vince McMahon era, because if you haven't been following, Vince McMahon got himself into some legal hot water and had to step aside from the company. And the company was sold. It's now a company that owns WWE and UFC. It's called TKO. And so it's a different type of structure, but they've put Triple H in charge, Paul Levesque, another guy with New Bedford ties. Because he's from New Hampshire and he started his career here on the South Coast, wrestling matches in New Bedford and Fall River as Terra Rising. And now he oversees everything in WWE, and they're fostering this new environment of this real team effort to just go out and put on the best show for everybody and to involve the fans in it and to, the fans are in on it now. Here we are 25 plus years on from the final acknowledging finally that it's all a work, that it's all a show. The breaking of kayfabe, as they say. And now it's just become such an accepted part of the fandom of it that it's okay. That you can have press conferences after these events where there's a wink and a nod to say, yeah, we're going to stay in character, but you know who we are behind the character. And you know what happens behind the scenes. And we may not address it directly, but we'll talk about it a little bit more than we did. And it's really endearing itself to fans. And it's just changing the culture around it. And Samantha Johnson is at the center of it. Samantha Irvin is at the center of it. So really great to see. And even if you're not a wrestling fan, give it a chance sometime on a Monday night just to see her and hear her announce some of the wrestlers. Because, man, does she get into it. And I'll be honest, at first I didn't like her style. But it's grown on me. And I understand why people have taken to her so quickly. Because you can hear that passion and love for the product in her voice as she's introducing it. 508-996-0500. Why don't I take a break here and we'll be back in a few moments.
I go down if I stay too long in trouble town. Oh, yeah. You wreck me, baby. Yeah, you break me in two.
And we're back. 508-996-0500. I'm getting kind of hungry. Are you hungry? We should head over to Just Another Phoenix in North Dartmouth for some breakfast. And if you haven't been to Just Another Phoenix, what are you waiting for? Because whatever it is that you love to have for breakfast, they have it on the menu. But they'll also have things you've never even thought of for breakfast. So if you'd like to get yourself something unique like, honey nut oat French toast, Boston cream stuffed French toast, my favorite. Maybe a meatloaf omelet. These are just some of the things that they've had on the menu at Just Another Phoenix because they're always looking to give you something unique and different. But yet it's also a comforting place that can become your regular breakfast go-to spot. Whether you have time to sit down in the restaurant or not, because their entire menu is available through takeout with their drive-through window. You don't even need to get out of the car to have a full, complete breakfast from Just Another Phoenix. You go to other drive-thrus, what are you getting? A sandwich, a donut, a muffin? When you go through the drive-thru at Just Another Phoenix, you can get everything on the menu. You can get omelets, pancakes, French toast, whatever they have, you can get it. Cheese rolls, and of course, some of the best home fries on the South Coast. So if you haven't been, get on over there. If it's been a while since you've been, get on over there. And I guarantee you it'll become your new favorite spot. Just Another Phoenix restaurant on Fawns Corner Road in North Dartmouth. It's just a little bit past the sheriff's office there on the same side. You can't miss the nice big sign they have. And once you go in, everybody's going to become your friend. Or if you're like me and you just want to sit there and be quiet and have nobody bother you, that can happen too. Just Another Phoenix, Fawns Corner Road in North Dartmouth. So there's a post that New Bedford police have put up on their Facebook page that I'd be interested in getting some of your thoughts on. because I know this has been a problem. And I know Ward 2 Councilor Maria Giesta has been especially working on this issue. I remember having her on the program when I was on with Councilor Morad when she was a council president, and Councilor Giesta talked about this issue with us, that there are oversized vehicles and trailers taking up street parking in New Bedford, and especially in the near North End. So I'm going to just read you verbatim the post that police department posted to Facebook. The NBPD would like to address complaints of oversized vehicles parked overnight on city streets and trailers that are not hitched to a motor vehicle. Parking a vehicle that requires more than a Class D license to operate on a city street overnight is punishable by a $50 fine. Trailers, including campers that are not attached to a motor vehicle, are subject to a $300 daily fine and can be towed. And they actually shared a link to the city ordinance on this so that you can read the details of it. But these are, I see it all the time when I'm driving through there. People that park buses overnight on the side of the road, taking up 3 or 4 parking spaces. People who park campers out there, commercial vehicles, which aren't supposed to be out there either. And so the police department on their Facebook post actually put a link to where you can report these incidences anonymously. Which I get it. Nobody wants to be, ratting other people out. But when you live in one of these areas where there's nowhere to park, and you're coming home, say, late at night, and you've got to park 3 or 4 streets over, carry your groceries in, carry in your stuff from the day, carrying that, 2 or 3 blocks, because there's somebody parked their camper out in front of your house. My favorite are the cars that people have out there that are broken, that don't move. There's literally a car that I saw that has 4 flat tires that has been in the same spot for a year. But they never get rung up for it. I don't get it. There's such limited parking already. It's become such a major topic of discussion. But yet people are still doing this stuff. And then they have no problem doing it again after they've been caught. If you remember last year, the story was the folks that were parking too close to intersections and parking too close to fire hydrants. And there was a vehicle where they had to smash the person's window to put the hose through to get to the fire hydrant to put out a fire. And it happens more than you think. I just don't understand why people can't follow the law and be courteous to the other people that need to park. I get it. You might have a big truck, you might have a big SUV, but there's no reason to park a camper on the side of the road. If you want to have a camper and that's where you live, you got to put it in storage. Anyway, I see a caller on hold. Hang on. Let me take this break. And when we come back, we will get you in. And if not, we'll get you in at the start of the next call. Good morning. You're next on WBSM.
Good morning, Tim. Gilly Safiolis.
How you doing?
Good. You're talking about Maria Giesta and parking big units on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they say there's a law that says people can't park big units over a certain weight on the side streets or on a... Right? Is
yes.
that what you're saying?
Yep.
Well, I understand the situation. I agree with her. But let me bring up another issue. If it's good for the goose, shouldn't it be good for the city too? When they're doing all the streets and everything, and a lot of people have noticed this, they park backhoes, they park all kind of vehicles, they put cones around them. Now you take example like Rockdale Avenue. down by where the cemetery, after Allen Street.
Over by the old 7-Eleven there?
Yeah, and they were even and you go a little bit by where the cemetery was. They were parking them on the sidewalk. People couldn't walk by the sidewalk. They had to go in the street to walk around them. It's all over the city. So why are the city, they're supposed to be, and I'm telling you this, that the city's supposed to bring those big equipment and trucks and everything back to the city yard. They're not supposed to leave them on the after the work. It's for their convenience. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. If the citizens and the taxpayers pay for it, then the city should do their diligence to don't block the streets with cones and everything with people. And those big units are big. A lot of people have seen that all over the city. So Maria should do it both ways, because there was a meeting at St. Anthony's Church about a week ago, and she was there. Alicia Kett was there. There was a police officer there, and they brought that up. And I even raised my hand because I do live in Fall River now because I got thrown out of New Bedford, but I'm still a New Bedford guy. I raised my hand and I even said, "May I ask a question, Maria?" And I brought that up to her. Now, if it's good for the people that she wants to attack, please attack the city for parking their heavy-duty equipment all over the city, side streets, and they're parking all the vehicles on the guy's property, too.
All right.
On Allen Street.
I got to just hold you there, Gilly, because we're out of time for the hour, but thank you for the call.
Okay, bye-bye.
And we are out of time for the hour, but that's all right. We have another hour to go.